The natural beauty of Yellowstone National Park is one of the primary draws for the park's annual turnout of millions of tourists. But what if something truly momentous took place within its boundaries that we are not yet capable of completely comprehending? A recent disclosure made by a park ranger seems to point in that direction. The park ranger claims that a significant event has taken place within Yellowstone, and the repercussions of this event could have far-reaching consequences. Come along with us as we investigate this enigmatic occurrence and its possible effects on one of the nation's most valued national parks. Yellowstone National Park is the oldest national park in the U.S., as well as one of the largest and most well-known national parks in the country. It encompasses the biggest concentration of hydrothermal features in the world and is located primarily in the northwestern corner of Wyoming, as well as in parts of the southern state of Montana and the eastern state of Idaho. The park became the first national park in the U.S. on March 1, 1872, when it was designated as such by the U.S. Congress. It is also generally considered to have been the first national park in the world, despite the fact that some naturalists and other individuals have argued that there is evidence that indicates the creation of Yellowstone was predated by the creation of Bogd Khan Mountain National Park in Mongolia, which may date back as far as 1778. Yellowstone is also widely regarded as having been the first national park in the U.S. The year 1976 saw Yellowstone National Park become a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, and 1978 saw it become a World Heritage Site. At its broadest point, the park stretches 63 miles from north to south and 54 miles from east to west, and it encompasses a total land area of 3,472 square miles. The park is shaped like a square-like rectangle with an uneven eastern edge. Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park, located to the south of Yellowstone, are connected by the John D. Rockefeller Jr. Memorial Parkway, a picturesque roadway that was created in 1972 and spans a distance of 80 miles. In addition, Yellowstone is encircled by the national forests of Gallatin to the northwest and north, Custer to the northeast, Shoshone to the northeast and east, Bridger Teton to the southeast and south, and Caribou Targhee to the southwest. The park's headquarters are located at Mammoth Hot Springs, which is located close to the park's northern entrance. Talking about its geology. Yellowstone National Park is found in a part of the country that has, for tens of millions of years, experienced both volcanic and seismic activity. The movement of the North American plate has resulted in a thinning of the crust of the Earth in this region, resulting in the formation of a hotspot. One of the most catastrophic volcanic eruptions in the history of the Earth occurred in the Yellowstone region approximately 2.1 million years ago, when a subterranean magma dome that had been slowly building up in the region exploded. The amount of rock and ash that was thrown around was around 600 cubic miles, which is similar to approximately 6,000 times the volume of volcanic material that was discharged during the eruption of Mount Saint Helens in 1980. The subsequent significant eruptions occurred approximately 1.3 million and 640,000 years ago, with the most recent one releasing approximately 2/5 as much material as the initial eruption. Following each of these eruptions, a large caldera was left behind, which was formed by the collapse of a magma dome that had been building up. The third eruption produced the modern-day Yellowstone caldera, which is a roughly oval-shaped basin approximately 30 by 45 miles that occupies the west-central portion of the national park and includes the northern two-thirds of Yellowstone Lake. It measures about 30 miles long and 45 miles wide. Inside the caldera, two resurgent magma domes have been built. One is located just to the north of Yellowstone Lake, while the other is located just to the west of the lake. The western dome is located beneath many of the park's most well-known hydrothermal features. Seismic activity in the Yellowstone region is likewise at an extraordinarily high level. Below the surface of the park is a system of faults that are connected to the volcanic history of the region, and the area is shaken by hundreds of smaller earthquakes every year. The vast majority of those tremors have magnitudes of 2.0 or lower and are not noticed by those living in the area. But every so often, a more severe earthquake will strike the region and have an impact on the park. One such occurrence, a catastrophic earthquake that happened in 1959 in southern Montana just outside the northern part of the park, had an effect on a number of hydrothermal phenomena in Yellowstone, one of which was the park's most famous geyser known as Old Faithful. The topography of Yellowstone is the combined result of tectonic activity and the eroding effects of ice and water. The majority of the park is made up of expansive volcanic plateaus that are located at an average elevation of roughly 2,400 meters. The Gallatin Range, which is located in the park's northwest, the Absaroka Range, which is located in the park's east, and the northernmost portion of the Teton Range, which is located along the park's southern perimeter, are the three mountain ranges that extend into the park. The Absaroka Range is home to the park's loftiest peaks, with some peaks having an elevation greater than 3,000 meters. Eagle Peak, which is located on the southeast corner of the park's boundaries, is the highest point of the range and stands at 3,462 meters. In addition to its steep mountains and beautiful deep valleys formed by glaciers, the park is home to a number of peculiar geological features, such as fossil forests, eroded basaltic lava flows, a mountain composed entirely of black obsidian, and weird erosional shapes. Yellowstone is also famous for the many beautiful lakes and rivers that can be found there. Yellowstone Lake is the largest body of water in the park. It has a surface area of 132 square miles and is located at an elevation of 2,356 meters, making it the highest mountain lake in North America of its size. The comparatively minor eruption that occurred in the caldera approximately 150,000 years ago resulted in the formation of the West Thumb area, which is a knob-like protrusion of the lake that can be found on its western side. The caldera that contains Yellowstone Lake also contains Shoshone Lake, which is the second largest lake in the area after Yellowstone Lake. The Yellowstone River has the most significant drainage system in Yellowstone National Park. It enters the park in the southwest corner, flows generally northward including via Yellowstone Lake, and exits the park in the northwest corner. Upper Yellowstone Falls, which has a drop of 114 feet, and Lower Yellowstone Falls, which has a plunge of 308 feet, are the two beautiful waterfalls that comprise the Yellowstone River's Yellowstone Falls, which are located in the north-central area of the park. The falls mark the beginning of the incredible Grand Canyon of Yellowstone in the canyon's westernmost section. There, the river has carved a gorge that is up to 4,000 feet wide, up to 19 miles in length, and between 800 and 1,200 feet deep. The canyon was carved out of decomposed rhyolite, which is a type of volcanic rock, and its walls are brightly colored in a variety of colors, including red, pink, yellow, buff, lavender, and white. Other rivers and streams of note include the Snake River, which originates and flows along the park's southern boundary before joining the Lewis River and continuing south. The Gallatin River and the Madison River, both of which originate in and flow through the northwestern part of Yellowstone before exiting the park and eventually forming, along with the Jefferson River, the Missouri River in southern Montana, and the Yellowstone River, which originates and flows along the park's southern boundary, and the Lewis River, which originates and flows along the park. But the most popular things to see and do in Yellowstone are the park's nearly 10,000 hydrothermal features, which account for roughly half of all those that are known to exist worldwide. Because the crust of the region is highly cracked, groundwater is able to seep down to the point where it comes into touch with magma. The water, which has been superheated and is rich in minerals, eventually makes its way back to the surface where it may be seen as geysers, steam vents, fumaroles, colorful hot pools, mud cauldrons, paint pots, hot springs, and terraces, and hot rivers. It is believed that the constant stream of minor earthquakes that shake the region act to keep open the myriad cracks and fissures in the ground that might otherwise become clogged with minerals precipitating out of the hot water as it cools. This is because these cracks and fissures would otherwise become clogged if there was not a constant stream of minor earthquakes shaking the region. Several of the park's more than 300 geysers, which account for more than half of the total in the globe, reach heights of 100 feet or higher when they erupt. Old Faithful, located in west-central Yellowstone, is the most famous geyser in the park. It erupts quite regularly around every 90 minutes, with a range of variability that is reasonably predictable. Between Old Faithful and Mammoth Hot Springs, which is approximately 50 miles to the north, the western part of Yellowstone National Park is home to the majority of the park's famous geysers, as well as other thermal phenomena. The basins of Upper Geyser, Midway Geyser, and Lower Geyser, which are located approximately 10 miles to the north of Old Faithful, contain the highest concentrations of the geothermal feature. Excelsior Geyser in the Midway Geyser Basin, which rarely erupts but discharges thousands of gallons of boiling water per minute, and the fountain paint pots in the Lower Geyser Basin, which feature pink, plopping mud geysers, fumaroles, and a blue hot spring pool. All of these can be found in the Upper Geyser Basin. The Norris Geyser Basin can be found approximately in the middle of the Mammoth Hot Springs and the southern hydrothermal area. It is famous for containing some of the hottest and most acidic hydrothermal phenomena in the park. Moreover, it contains Steamboat Geyser, which is the world's highest erupting geyser and can shoot water to heights of up to 300 feet. The terraced hillside at Mammoth Hot Springs is composed of travertine, which is calcium carbonate, and was left there by the dozens of hot springs that are located there. It is home to a number of interesting geological formations, including the multicolored Minerva Terrace and the Angel Terrace, both of which are made up of dazzling white rock that in many places has been dyed by microorganisms that live on the rock. During the month of February, there were no documented eruptions of Steamboat Geyser, and the overall number of eruptions for the year has remained unchanged at 2. However, the stream gauge on Tantalus Creek, via which all water from Norris Geyser Basin drains, did not record any noticeable spikes that would be linked with steamboat eruptions. The Norris Museum is difficult to access during the winter months. The University of Utah seismograph stations, which are responsible for the operation and analysis of the Yellowstone seismic network, identified 168 earthquakes in the Yellowstone National Park region during the month of February 2023. The month's most significant occurrence was a small earthquake with a magnitude of 2.9 that occurred on February 7 at 8:44 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, approximately 11 miles northwest of West Yellowstone. This earthquake was one of 76 that took place in the region between February 4 and 11. They all happened during that time period. That's all for the video today. We will be right back. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.